we'll be making a head as a lifestyle accessory. So now let's make the layout for the head. So the head can be of many shapes and sizes. It could be something like this, which looks like a fedora, right? Or it could be something like a sun head type, which has a sort of a semicircular dome on top and a sort of a round brim, right? So I'll be making this second type of head. Now for this, to make this head, the top part is, as you can see, it's a semicircle, and the bottom part is just a flat circle with a hole in the middle on top of which the semicircular dome will fit. Now to make the semicircle, what we will do is we'll cut a strip, we'll make a ring out of it, and then I'll use a number of various strips to sort of crisscross across this first strip, this first ring, so that it becomes sort of a dome. So now let's make this dome. So now I'll take the glue and I've applied it to one end of the strip. Now take this other end and now we'll glue this piece so that it becomes a circular ring. Make sure that it is circular. You can sort of curve it around to make it circular, sort of mold it with your hands, right? Now we'll take the strips. Each of these strips is half the length of this original strip, right? So that it becomes a perfect semicircular dome. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be sticking the strips one by one, crisscrossing across this ring. Again, make sure that the ring stays circular even after pasting the strip. Otherwise, it may tend to get flattened out like this. So make sure it still is circular after sticking that first strip. Now I'll crisscross it. So we'll continue putting the strips across this whole ring till it is almost wholly covered. Now as you can see, I have prepared this dome, and it is comprised of many strips cutting across this ring. And to make the brim of the head, I'll take this cartridge paper and then I've put this dome on top of it, and then I've marked sort of a circle around it, right? And then I mark according to the size, the diameter of the ring, I've marked a slightly smaller inner circle inside this bigger circle. So this is where the head of the person will fit inside the head. Now I'll cut out this circle, and then I'll cover it on both sides with colored paper, either glaze paper or pastel sheets. So as you can see, this is the circle that I've cut out with the hole inside. I've covered it on one side with the same colored paper, and on the underside I've used this blue glaze paper, right? And we can use this brim as it is, but to give it a sort of a sense of style, I'm just gonna curl up the edges a bit so that the head has some sort of a dimension. It doesn't look totally one dimensional or two dimensional, right? So that when the dome is placed on the head, it looks a little different from various angles. And now after gluing this down, we'll be decorating it. So first I'll glue it. So as you can see, I've stuck the brim, the dome to the head brim. Now to decorate it, I'm taking this long strip of glazed paper and I will be putting it on the head like this. So as you can see, I've stuck it. Now I've made some other decorations like these flowers. So to make this flower, you take a white piece of paper, circular piece of paper. It doesn't need to be perfect. You cut a spiral into it. And then you start rolling from this pointed end, from this outside edge. And when you sort of release it, it will become something like this. I've also cut out some leaf shapes. So it's easy to cut out leaf shapes. You just fold a piece of paper like this, and then you sort of draw a leaf shape like this, half the leaf shape. And then you cut out this shape, and when you unfold it, you'll get a leaf like this. I've also taken some glazed paper strips, thin strips, and then I've sort of made tiny loops out of them to decorate it. And now I'll decorate this hat. Okay, so now as you can see, I've decorated the hat. So first I stuck on the loops, the ribbon like loops, and then I stuck on the blue leaves, and then lastly I stuck on these flowers. So as you can see, the hat is ready. You can also put in more decorations if you like. You can decorate the brim if you want with sort of other designs and all. That's up to you. So if you have more time, then you can decorate it as much as you want. So this is the finished model for the NIFT situation test. To make this model, I've used basically a very few elements, which is cartridge paper and colored paper. But again, in the actual NIFT situation test, you might have more materials. You might have wire, you might have straw, you might have thermocol, you might even have mount board. So you can incorporate all of them. For example, you could use the wire and the thermocol to make more decorations. You could use the mount board to make the brim of the hat, and you could also use straw to like sort of decorate the hat more, or to even make a weaving for the hat, right? To make the actual dome of the hat, you could use straw to weave it out of straw, right? So again, this is a suggestion, and which you can use to solve your own, which you can use to make your own, generate your own ideas while solving the situation test. फिर से एक और बार ऐसे ही शुरू हो जाऊँ थोड़ा सा ही बताना हाँ okay start. So as you can see, this is the finished model showing the lifestyle accessory product, which is a hat. And in the actual situation test, you might have more materials than this. You might have wire, you might have thermocol, you might have mount board. So for example, you could use the wire and the thermocol to decorate the hat. You could use the wire to give more structural stability to the hat. And you could also use a mount board to make the brim of the hat, right? And you could also make different shapes of hats. You don't need to make this same hat. So like consider this as sort of a suggestion to generate your own ideas for solving the NIFT situation test.
By far, we have discussed about different types of questions asked in NIFT situation test. But for learning more, you need to practice more. And for practicing more, buy NIFT situation test practice booklet designed by AFA from Amazon or www.afaindia.com.